Hi guys, I've got another video card to unbox. Sometimes you take 2 steps forward and 1 step backwards. My very good friend who gave me the Leatherman has given me a new microphone which I'm testing today. So I'm hoping that that makes an improvement. The lighting though is crap. I had another LED light on, but it's flickering on the iPhone recording, so lighting is not good. I think that's the next thing I need to upgrade for my videos. So we're gonna have to make do with some shadows and some weird lighting. Anyway, this card is a kind of a card I've been wanting to get for a while. Interests me. It's a card that was never popular, came out with a reasonable amount of fanfare, but was never very good, basically. Now, I don't know if this is new or not. Obviously, the box is not the box that the card would have come in originally. From China, and I was actually kind of surprised to see it. I've been looking on and off for one of these for a while. This and the XGI Volare. This and the XGI Volare are two cards I'd like to get. This particular one, I'm not convinced that it's a full fat version. I think it's a cut down version based on the videos on eBay, but it's arrived in seemingly good condition. So let's have a look. I've opened the box, but I haven't taken anything out yet. So I don't know what this is for. It's like a VGA bracket. Well, that is interesting. Pretty sure it had VGA on the actual card, so I don't know what that's for. We'll take a look at that in a sec. This may give it away. Maybe not. I won't keep you in suspense, but yes, here we go. It's a SiS Xabre, and this is the Xabre 400 nominally. There was a 600 and a 200. Now, the memory configuration on this, I think, is only 64-bit because it's only got 4 memory chips. So I'm actually thinking, performance-wise, it is closer to a Xabre 200. I don't know how that's going to perform. None of them perform particularly well. Well, it does have DDR memory. So this came out in about 2002, 2003. It was kind of priced in the Geforce 4MX range. And some of the benchmarks that I remember getting tested for it were quite good, but a lot that it wasn't particularly optimized for, it just tanked, didn't do very well. So as usual, drivers for these kind of cards were never good. Look, I quite liked my SiS previous one, the 6326, but this is a proper VGA card with, I think, transformer lighting. Don't actually know, I think it does. But it was kind of, I believe, SiS's last hurrah and meant to be like a mid-range proper 3D video card competing with a Geforce. So, yeah, that's the manual. It's got a driver disc. That's good. Is that the same box? The brand is the same, but this says capture card. So, I don't know. Maybe, yeah, not sure. Let's have a look. Okay, so it does not look new, although the actual board looks very clean. It's a really weird design. So it looks, yeah, it looks brand new. So yeah, it's a weird design. It's a 4X AGP slot, but then it's got this weird AGP8X sort of connector thingy here. But it's sort of, the board's chopped off. So as you can see, it's only got 2 memory modules here and then 2 on the back. What's this date say? '06? That seems very late, but maybe they had a bunch of spare chips and just decided to manufacture it. Yeah, that's strange. I think this was like a 2002, 2003, maybe 2004 card, so quite late. But yeah, it's got the same IEI branding, so I'm assuming that they slapped it on a PCB and called it a day. So it looks like maybe that VGA adapter plugs into here. I'm thinking that it can do dual VGA, which is kind of cool, but that's a full height bracket and it has DVI. Can we see what the memory is? Oh, 4 nanosecond. That should be pretty good. Caps look good. Yeah. Not sure what that is. Probably for some TV out thing. But yeah, it looks in very good condition and basically brand new. So yeah, look, kind of Geforce 4 MX performance when running optimized games like probably 3D Mark and Quake 3, but anything else I'm sure it will do very badly. But this one, because I think it's only got a 64-bit memory bus, is not going to perform as well. So yeah, need to obviously test it. Very curious. This was an interesting card when it came out. Yeah, look, I remember it got a bit of fanfare because it was cheap, but as soon as it was tested, everyone realised that the drivers were pretty rubbish, and it just didn't do what it needed to do. So I'll see if there are newer drivers and we'll see what it can do. We'll go from there. So I wanted to start doing some videos for GPU June, and I've been pretty busy lately, but I realised that I had started this unboxing of the Xabre video card, which I never ended up testing or using. That was back in November, so that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to continue on that video and do some benchmarks on it, give it some testing. Yeah, because it's a really interesting card and I just haven't had time to play with it. So the test bench I'm using is probably what I would not normally use. Actually, it's definitely not, but it was out for another build that I was playing with, so I thought I would try it on this machine. So what I've got here is actually a willamette socket 423 Pentium 4. It's running at 1.4 gigahertz. It's got 128 meg of RD RAM, and it's an ASUS P4T motherboard. I was also working on a video for this one at some point, but I haven't got that done yet. But it's set up, it's got Windows 98 on it, so I thought perfect to test this video card. Now, yes, the P4 probably not the best. You know, it's a willamette 423 board, definitely not something you'd normally do benchmarking on, but I've been using this video card here, which is a Geforce 2 GTS 32 meg. So while this is older than the XGI, I do think the XGI is running with lower memory bandwidth bus, basically. So look, I'll be interested to see if this wins. Wouldn't surprise me. The XGI, sorry, not the XGI, the SiS Xabre does do pixel shaders, I believe. So I've got 3D Mark 2001, which I'll test. The Geforce 2 does not support that, but we'll see. So I've got just unscrew and take out this. This board is interesting because it's also got AGP Pro on it, and very few boards, just make sure it's off. Yep, very few boards have that. But yeah, this is quite a nice generic sort of Geforce 2 from Gigabyte. So yeah, it's a nice little card. So let's get out this. Now I've downloaded some drivers off Vogon's wiki. There's two versions on there. I'm using the later version, so we'll see. Here is the card. Now I do remember back in the day, because I actually remember when this card was released, there was lots of driver optimization and things like that. And for today, the benchmarks I'm using is Quake 3, 3D Mark 2000 and 2001. I suspect all of those will show this card in the best light possible because those were the popular games out at the time. Yeah, but because it's only got 4 memory modules, 2 on the front, 2 on the back, I believe it's a 64-bit memory bus, but I don't know. I don't even know if it works. I'm hoping it does. If it doesn't work, it'll make this video very short. So that's goes in there. And yeah, I really like this open case. It just makes testing things so much easier. It wasn't cheap, but definitely worth the purchase. Okay. Alright, so it's switched on. I'll start my video capture. Start recording. And hopefully we don't see any smoke. And right. Okay, it's booting. I didn't see any BIOS screen, unfortunately, but the capture card can have a bit of delay, so sometimes that's not displayed. So we will see, but let's just have a closer look at it. It's actually spinning faster than what it looks like in the video. But yeah, it's a pretty weird looking card, that's for sure. And it's booting up. So what I'll do is I will install the drivers, and then I'll probably stop this recording and I might do a voiceover on the drivers once I've got that working. And then, yeah, we'll do an update. But as you can see here, it is, I assume, just going to detect it as a generic VGA card. Yeah. This card might actually be better for XP, but there are 98 drivers, so I'll restart anyway. There might be the drivers for 98 probably are okay. Anyway, let's pause this and I will be back. Okay, so 98 is booting. I have noticed it can be a little slow with a network card in it. I think it waits for the DHCP to complete, so I've edited out a little bit of the booting process. Anyway, we'll just go through the monitor, which it redetects every time. Now, I've set up my Synology with a little network web server on it. I've created a little PHP script just to output the files in a way that makes it fast to load on an old browser. I also added a quick page so you could upload files as well. So that just makes it easy for me to download and upload files via the web browser. I find that's the easiest way to deal with it. In future, I want to be able to tag files and categorize them, but for now, we've just got the just a very quick page. So I'm downloading the 3.57 drivers. It says performance driver on it, and I don't know if that means it's optimized with worse quality. There is an older driver, but I just picked the latest driver possible. I didn't notice any quality issues while testing, but I wasn't looking that closely, and these drivers seem to work fine. I suspect the other drivers aren't as good in terms of compatibility with more modern games. So they're pretty basic drivers, as SiS stuff always is, but in some ways I prefer that. It does mean that they seem to have less issues and not very bloated, basically. So yeah, pretty low key. When I was looking at it, I think it actually reported itself in one of the programs as an SiS 330. So that's kind of the era of the chipset, and the Xabre is obviously just a brand name for it. So there was like the SiS, I think there was a 530, and then I think I think the 530 was based on the 6326, and then they had the SiS 300 series, I think, and maybe the 305 or something. I'll have to go back and have a look. There are a few various integrated versions, and this is really I think a evolution of that. Saying that though, the card does have, quite a lot of features for an SiS chip. So we'll just skip that and give it a reboot. And then I might just pause it here and jump back and skip through this reboot process. Okay, so it has just rebooted. As always, Windows likes to redetect the monitor. Not quite sure why it does that every time. But as you can see, we've got the full colors, which is good. All right, so just loading up. It's not the fastest of computers, but it doesn't seem to cause any issues. I did test this with a higher end P4 as well, and the performance was pretty similar. So I don't think it's really bottlenecking this. So I wanted to show you a program that I've got that I found. I think it's called SiS. I might try and put a link into it. I've used it before. It's quite good at getting various information about the computer. The interface is pretty hilarious, but the data it collects is very comprehensive. It's been able to get GPU information that no other application has, and it's been able to get me CPU information and temperature. It's quite good, and I've talked to the developer before, and he's added some patches in for various motherboards that I've had. So pretty cool dude, and obviously very knowledgeable with how these older computers work. So this is a pretty good app if you need to find some information about your computer, because Windows 98's tools are not as good. If you're on XP, the GPU-Z and CPU-Z work a lot better. But for 98, while there is the CPU-Z Vintage Edition, which is really good, it doesn't really do any GPU stuff, and I don't think it does any of the temperatures and things like that. So SiS is pretty good. It's got a few different versions. You need to run the light version of the L for Windows 98. But you'll see as we load it up, you can see here it's picking up the CPU and also the GPU. Unfortunately, it's not picking up the memory, the bus speed. It is picking up the memory and GPU, which is both running at 250. So it's a DDR memory, and I'm assuming it's 64-bit. That is an assumption, but based on the number of chips it's got and the performance I've seen, it looks like it is a 64-bit card. So yeah, this is pretty comprehensive of a program. It gives you way too much information, so you kind of need to know what you're looking for, but it does usually report the clocks and the megahertz of various things quite nicely. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So we'll have a quick look at the drivers. Again, very basic, which I don't have a problem with. It is picking it up with the 64 meg Xabre 400. Some very basic gamma correction. We've got a little bit of information about the chip here, so you can see it's DDR, you can see the video and graphics. Unfortunately, it doesn't show you the memory chip bits, but again, I'm assuming that's 64-bit. not 128. And that's just all the driver info. So yeah, very, very basic. I think on XP when I tried this, there is like a few other wizards that you can run to tweak stuff for different games. But that's about it for this card. So let's have a look at the computer specs. We've got the P4 at 1.4 gig. I tested this in a Pentium 4 2.66 gig, and performance is very similar. So no issues there. And then we've got the same driver for the Geforce 2 and Geforce 4. And then we've got the version 3.57 for the Xabre. All right, let's have a look at the GPU specs. So the GPU frequencies are all fairly similar. Again, the memory not too dissimilar either. The big difference here is that I think the Xabre is running on a 64-bit bus, unfortunately. So you can see its memory bandwidth is quite bad. Although in some of the benchmarks, as you'll soon see, it doesn't seem to impact it too much. I don't think the Geforce 2 is very efficient with its memory bandwidth. And the Geforce 4 is, while quick, I suspect potentially getting a little bit CPU bottlenecked here in the lower resolutions, at least. So let's jump in and have a look at Quake 3 to start with. So the first one is 1024 by 768, 32-bit color, max everything. Here the Xabre is doing quite a bit better than the Geforce 2, which is nice. Of course, nowhere near the Geforce 4. Yeah, I thought that was a pretty good showing. I think a Geforce 4 MX would be faster, but potentially not significantly. So I was actually pretty impressed with that speed. Now we have a look at the same performance in 1280. Both, again, all cards playable at this resolution. The Geforce 2 and the Xabre being fairly closely matched. So let's have a look at the next slide, which shows the performance drop when going from 1024 to 1280, because I'm curious about this memory bandwidth and if it makes a significant difference. So you can see here, yes, the Xabre does drop almost 40%, but the Geforce 2 is fairly similar. And if this is correct, then the Xabre is doing pretty well, considering it's only got a 64-bit bus. Now, you're only losing 20% in the Geforce 2. Now, that, to me, would probably mean there is a bit of a CPU bottleneck as well, but it is also way more efficient with the memory than the other two cards. So, yeah, really, the Xabre is performing not too dissimilar to the Geforce 2 in this. In fact, a bit quicker as well. So I think that's not too bad, to be honest. Now let's have a look at 3D Mark 2000. In this one here, the Geforce 2 is now beating the Xabre. Now, I would have said maybe that's driver optimization or better drivers, but you'll see in 3D Mark 2001, the Xabre actually pulls ahead. Now, that's not because of the nature test, because I've got that disabled in the first round. So not quite sure what's going on here. Maybe the TNL engine is faster on the Geforce 2. Yeah, I wouldn't know why, but they're very closely matched here. So I don't think there's much, you wouldn't notice this basically. Jumping over to 2001 though, you can see quite a big improvement for the Xabre over the Geforce 2. And now this is with the nature test disabled. So that's actually quite a reasonable jump. I suspect maybe the 64 meg of RAM is helping it here. I was able to get a Geforce 2 Pro with 64 meg up to about the 5000 in a fairly high-end P4 before. So I'm not sure if that... it still seems like the Xabre is doing quite well here. I was impressed with the performance of it, especially without the nature test. So yeah, look, definitely faster than Geforce 2, it seems. So that's pretty cool. Now this is where things get, I think, a little interesting. Very small increase in 3D Mark score with the nature test. And I've got some video clips at the end, but you can see the performance is really bad in the nature test, and it's getting down to like 10 frames a second. So really the pixel shading on this chip is pretty bad. And I think that was one of the issues with it. While it was faster than a Geforce 2, it didn't have the performance over a Geforce 4 MX, and the pixel shaders didn't justify that difference, and the drivers weren't as good. So really that's why the Geforce 4 MX was the best of the bunch. And that's a quick look at the SiS Xabre 400. Yeah, really, from looking online, it's more, the performance of it's really probably more like the 200, not the 400. But with the memory running at 250 megahertz, that's quite fast. So while I think it is got less memory bandwidth altogether, it's probably not too bad for a 64-bit card. So yeah, look, I probably will do some more testing in future, but I thought that was it's a bit of a different card that isn't very common. The drivers all worked really well and easy. I didn't really look at quality, so I might try and put up a few screen captures, but with the VGA, it's not the best quality to capture. But overall, I think that is a fine budget card. So if you wanted to play around with something a bit more unique, then yeah, I'd recommend picking one up. Here's a little bit of capture of SiS Xabre. Now this is actually running on a different machine. This is running on a P4 2.4 gig in Windows XP. I just wanted to show you a little bit more demanding game. Unfortunately, I didn't save the benchmark results, but I was pretty happy with the performance. And this was, I believe, in 1024. And as you can see here, it's definitely seems pretty playable. And I would suggest faster than the Geforce 2 GTS. So yeah, it's works pretty well. Look, I did have some, when I was using it on the faster P4 in XP, I had a bit of graphical corruption in 3D Mark 2001. I'm not sure if that is the drivers or maybe a slight incompatibility with the CPU in terms of like it's running it too fast or something like that. But I did have some problems in this machine, although no problems in SiS Xabre. So not sure there. It worked great on the Windows 98 box though. So yeah, it looks quite nice. So yeah, the SiS Xabre definitely seems quite playable with this card, which is pretty good, and the quality to be me here looks really nice. So yeah, just thought I'd throw that in. Now that's the end of my GPU June video. I'm just going to leave it here with some screen captures of 3D Mark and some Quake 3, just so that you can have a look at it. I'm sorry, it is just a VGA capture and it's not the best capture card, but I thought that might interest you. So a few captures here if you're interested. Otherwise, I hope to do some more videos for GPU June. It's been a while since I've done some. But I think this is an interesting card to look at and a good first start. Anyway, thanks guys. Thanks for watching. We'll talk soon. Bye.